weather did prevail. Things cleared up down here in the South. Thank goodness all flights apparently were made because the card didn't change. But as we know, wrestling is always subject to change. And we're going to talk a little bit about that moving forward too, because I have a plan of what we're going to do in here in the slow burn as we move forward. As you know, we've been trying to put all this together to become better and better. I'm trying to come with a consistent plan, and I'm getting a lot of good advice from people. And this week, we're going to do some special things, guys. I'm going to have a couple guest hosts with me, hopefully, if everything works out. But as we know, card is always subject to change. This is professional wrestling, right? So we have that coming up. I hopefully to have a couple guests, maybe an interview or two if things can get worked out at the very least. The other thing, I have a couple new multimedia ventures we're going to deal with. Guys, we got some new logos that we're going to be promoting with the Slow Burn. The stuff that I created, the stuff that I'm using right now, bare bones, bare minimum. And I've always said the show is going to be that way. I want it to be raw. I want it to be like walking into an indie show in 1989. That's what I want it to be like. But at the same time, I have some major people out there that are really helping us out here at the Slow Burn. So thank you. And I will give thanks when it's all time, but you guys know who you are and it's much appreciated. And I will be debuting some of that stuff also on social media as well. We'll have our new Facebook logos, our new YouTube logos. And we're going to do some neat stuff moving on here in the Slow Burn. And like I said, hopefully we'll have a guest host, and I actually have a segment situation planned out that we're going to do in a lead up to our trip to Monday Night Raw, which is going to be on January 27th in Atlanta. And I'm already kind of working a little bit of that out. It's going to be fun. Maybe have a few pieces as we lead up to Monday Night Raw. And I don't know. It could be fun. We'll see. But we're going to experiment a little bit as we move on here. And hopefully things will go as good as what they've been so far. Guys, I am having an absolute blast with this. I hope you're having fun. Those of you, the 3 or 4 of you that are actually listening. And guys, I'm not delusional. I know what we're doing here. But I am happy because I've had a couple people reach out to me that have started watching wrestling again because of me and because of the Slow Burn, and I think that's freaking awesome. I've also come to find out that I have some friends that watch wrestling that I didn't know were watching professional wrestling. So we're going to keep grinding, guys. We're going to keep doing what we do. But today is a day for football as well. NFL playoffs. We had an opener last night, but I'm going to be honest. I went 50 yesterday. I went 500 yesterday for that one. So today, hopefully a better day for football for everybody else. We have a day off of wrestling on regular TV. I think I may check out what's on Triller later on if the wife will be okay with that. But you never know, since it's 7 days a week wrestling in this house. If we get a day off, maybe we take it. Who knows? It's not happening. Anyway, so that's what we have going on here on the Slow Burn. Also, don't forget, guys, I debuted on Facebook. We have these silly little bracelets that we've came up with. Also showed a picture of some of the fancier ones that we have as well. Not the CM Punk one. That one's mine. But if anybody wants one, let me know. We'll get them to you. Also, we'll have a couple of them out at the local shows here in the CSRA coming up here. I know we have VPW coming up here very soon here in Augusta. We also have Next Level Championship Wrestling coming up very soon here in Augusta. And Phoenix Wrestling Experience here in Augusta has some big shows coming up. And we're going to be talking about all that moving forward too. But for today, like I said, it's our weekly recap show, but we can't recap the week unless we recap Collision. And we previewed Collision yesterday in Athens, Georgia. It was a good show. I thought up and down, it had its good moments, it had its shit moments, and I'm not gonna mess around with that today because there was some I thought absolute cringe moments in this show. And again, guys, it's just my opinion. And again, I am not a professional at this stuff by any means. I am a wrestling mark with a very, very big opinion. Okay, that's all it is. So with that said, first off, show starting off with Harley Cameron on a guitar is always good by me. She's gold. Everything she touches is gold, except for her match that she had tonight. We'll get to that. But the show opens up, actually, with what I had previewed as the main event. I had previewed Cope. By the way, Nigel McGuinness on the commentary making fun of the name change. That was pretty good. So Nigel's growing on me. in his commentary. He's getting better and better. That can't be said for Shivani last night. I don't know if Shivani didn't take his pills or what it was, and I love Tony Schiavone, but that was a rough night on the mic for Tony last night. But again, the show opens up completely surprised. They opened up with what I thought was going to be the main event with Cope versus Big Bill. The best part of this match, in my personal opinion, was Jericho on commentary. The Cope is dope, or Cope is a dope thing that we got going. Give me that t-shirt. Speaking of t-shirts, the I Love Chris Jericho, like I Love New York shirt that he was wearing last night. I have already showed my wife that on Pro Wrestling Tees. So if anybody out there, I mean, just saying, my birthday did pass and I didn't get a present from a lot of you folks. So I have lots of other ones in my cart as well if you're interested. So I love Jericho on commentary. That was great. Brian Keith making situations funny when they're not probably going to be funny if any other person in wrestling is doing them. But the match overall, it was good. It was hard hitting. I want to say really fast, I have said that the best chopper in AEW is Eddie Kingston. I think he's maybe the best in the world, but he's hurt right now. But I've always, I Dax, and we know Jericho's a chopping legend. But Big Bill, I don't want those frying pans on my chest ever. Okay. And I don't know what he was doing with those chops. They looked absolutely ultra painful, and I don't know if they really were or not. But Edge sold the hell out of it, and I don't know. It was a good match. I enjoyed the match. Edge goes over. I'm sorry, Cope goes over. Now let's be done with this part of the story. All right, it was a good match. We got our entertainment value out of it in AEW style. Now let's move on. If we're gonna put Cope in with John Moxley in a title picture, I don't know. Maybe we got a lot of people in this title picture. It seems right now. Powerhouse Hobbs coming up on Wednesday. Can't wait for that. We'll get something with him later too. Um, but I thought overall, I'm glad we had the match, but the match is over. Now let's move on. Let Jericho do what he's doing with his Nueve and the Learning Tree stuff. Love the fact he's getting that Ring of Honor title run. But let's get Cope somewhere else. Maybe it's Moxley, maybe it's not. Maybe it's a side maneuver here to get to Moxley. Christian's holding up that next shot little placard that he has. So do we go that route? I don't know. They should have never went that route to begin with. They should have built that, but they started with it. I digress. What are you going to do? Other stuff in the match. We had a decent little match between Pac in his street clothes against Commander. Commander is what he is. The TV title, by the way, the Ring of Honor TV title was not on the line. I didn't know. I asked that question yesterday in the show, and I didn't have the answer. Now we know it definitely wasn't. Pac goes over there. The bastard Pac does what he does. You know what? I need to see a Pac Will Ospreay rematch. We had that at All In, and man, that was a really good, entertaining match, and I'd like to see them run that back. We had some injuries and then some contracts and blah blah blah, but overall, it was an okay match. That brought us to a tag match directly after, as the Death Riders stuck around. Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta. That was an interesting little dynamic throughout this match. They faced the Outrunners. Guys, I'm here for the Outrunners. Their comedy gimmick right now might be the best in all of wrestling. The whole 80s throwback. And I'm going to tell you that even though the double elbow drop missed last night, it's one of the best comedy gimmicks that you're going to see right now. Okay. The whole Turbo Floyd, you son of a bitch. And I mean, guys, that is freaking golden. Like, it's awesome stuff. So the match went as I thought. It wasn't a squash. Outrunners, they got their stuff in here, but Claudio comes through as he always does. But the crazy dynamic of this match was actually Claudio and Wheeler. Claudio, like the beaten little schoolboy, and I mean, not Claudio, Wheeler rather, with a beaten little schoolboy, and Claudio being the big bully, and kind of like that mental psychotic bully thing that he's got going. And you see the Death Riders kind of doing that, but now rather than it just being Moxley that's doing the pushing against Yuta, now you're seeing it being Claudio, who is kind of portrayed as his mentor, and they had the tag team prior. And so I don't know. That's an interesting little twist to the Death Rider dynamic that I know not everybody is here for. So I thought that was a decent little twist. the women's match, all right? The women's title match between Mariah May and Harley Cameron. This is where I get to the point in the show that, guys, this was not good. Uh, I'm sorry. I know you have two very attractive women. They're That's part of professional wrestling in today's world. Thank God we're not doing divas. These girls can wrestle. We know they had their quality as far as professional wrestling, but this match was not good. I don't know if it was called in the ring and the timing was bad. I don't know if they'd worked this out prior and it just I don't know. I didn't think the match worked. I thought it looked clunky at times. I mean, I hate the term flub. I used to use it. I know it's not supposed to be used in professional wrestling. There weren't really flubs, but it just didn't work. The timing just didn't work. And sometimes that's how this goes in this game. Sometimes a matchup just doesn't click. And I don't know. I thought that's what we got there. And I know part of that was supposed to be the comedy angle. Mariah with this woman from hell, and then you got the whole feel the wrath of Holly Cameron, and like that's really cool. And both sections are great, but you put them together, and I don't know. It was oil and water last night. We may throw them together again and see something a little bit better, but that was not good. That was not good. I did not enjoy that match whatsoever. If you felt different than me, by all means, let me know. But I thought the wrestling was bad. I thought they didn't progress any type of story. It wasn't a one match story. I don't know. It didn't work for me. Didn't like it. So what I did like is what happened next, though, and that was the interaction we had backstage with Cope and Brody King. Um, I'm here for this. Okay, I'm here for this. Brody King taking the advice of Edge, looking at guys. You can almost feel Edge putting together a group here. Edge is good with this. We know this is what he does. He has a tendency to do this throughout his career, and he's put together he's been a part of some very, very good factions, and not to mention one of the greatest tag teams of all time. But I would love to see an Edge having a heater like Brody King, and Brody King working along with the veteran of Edge. That could be something special. And with the big rumor we heard this week of Malachi Black's contract being up, and the House of Black maybe going away. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a writer, not a booker, but it does kind of make sense, and they did somewhat lead into it. Now, the match that Brody had was a squash match, local talent, no one that I recognized. I'm sure around Georgia we probably got some indie folks that knew him, but I didn't quite know him. But anyway, Brody with the squash win. Later on, what did we have after that? The match was okay. The squash, you're going to get Brody squash matches, and I actually sometimes like that AEW brings in the old-fashioned squash match. It's like I'm watching Randy Savage face the Brooklyn Brawler on Saturday Morning Superstars on KPLR Channel 11. Like that stuff to me. So a squash match sometimes works, and there is no such thing in jobbers. Yes, there is. All right. So that brings us to the TNT Championship match between Daniel Garcia and Katsuyori Shibata. Decent wrestling match. But I'm going to say this again, and I know it's a Japanese thing where they do the chops and they don't sell sometimes. Shibata didn't sell in this match for about 10 straight minutes. And I get the legendary status. I get the whole New Japan dojo leader and all of that, but that doesn't work for me. Daniel Garcia is your TNT champion, and you're gonna no sell him. Now I know in like the Japanese wrestling that like they beat the hell out of each other, and sometimes they get that surge of adrenaline and they get chopped, and then and they fight through the chop, right? That was not the case in this match. This was Shibata getting the shit chopped out of him, and him just sitting there and looking at Garcia like he was a chump. I get the whole idea of veteran versus young boy. Like I understand that. The problem is your young boy in this case is your champion. So I don't know. It's one of those cases that I know Tony is a big Japanese wrestling person. I'm happy for that. You can see it in the way the matches and the way the shows are run. I'm good. That's that great alternative that we talk about. But at the same time, it's kind of like the idea that we've spoke about with the finishers and not selling finishers. Um, if you're selling one, you should sell the other and make sure your situation is right. You booked your champion to look weak and your challenger to look strong, and at the same time, you didn't take the belt off of your champion. You had and still. So I just don't see how that worked. But regardless, nevertheless, that brings us to our main event, which is what I would have thought would have been our opener, and that was Chris Jericho defending the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship, the Nueve Chris Jericho, against Dax Harwood of FTR, or rated FTR. You guys know I love Dax Harwood. I hope one day I can sit down and talk wrestling with Dax Harwood, because I know that he is an absolute purist. He reminds me so much of Arn Anderson in the ring. And if you watched the old WCW, NWA stuff back in the 80s, early 90s, even WWE, I mean, he was in the WWE with Tully, with Bobby Heenan as the Brainbusters. But Dax reminds me so much of Arn Anderson. And just the way they wrestle, the hard-hitting style, the workman attitude, almost the everyman, but I'm not going to take any shit off of you. Like, that style is fantastic. And then you had the glitz and glamour of Jericho, being Jericho like he always is. It was good. It was a decent match, but let me go over the match with you. Okay, are we ready for this? I'm gonna dick this. I don't know how long it went. I'm guessing 12, 13 minutes maybe. But here we go. So we got chop, 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 headlock, Irish whip, chop, chop, headlock, transition, exchange, chop, chop, headlock, Irish whip, duck, ropes, run, chop, chop, outside, chop. Do you see where the hell I'm going with this? I mean, come on. I like a Japanese chop fest in New Japan and stuff. Like, I'm good with it, but this got old. This got old for me. And what sucks is it got old with one person who I think is one of the greatest to ever do it. And guy, I don't care what you say, Chris Jericho still goes. I mean, he doesn't look like he once did. I understand all that, but he can still absolutely go. And it didn't show last night. So you got that, one of my favorites of all time. Dax, who reminds me of one of my favorites of all time in Arn Anderson. I love Dax's work. I think he does such a good job at working and being a wrestler's wrestler. This should have been a match made in heaven, and it didn't. It just didn't. I don't know. Chop fest, chop fest, chop fest. You guys, I thought we could have gotten a little bit more. And I am critiquing two of the greatest to do it right now, and one of the greatest to ever do it. And I know I'm just a history teacher, but this wasn't good. So anyway, I thought the show ended in a rough way. If I had to go ahead and rate this show, if I'm grading this show in the educational setting, I'm probably going to give this show a B minus, and that's a low B minus. We're flirting with a C plus here. It just could have been better. So anyway, that is our AEW Collision. I spent a little bit more time on that than what I wanted to. I think it was the negativity side. And again, I don't get negative on here a ton, but sometimes it's got to be said. And I didn't think it was a great show. The hell with that. It wasn't a B minus. It was a C plus show. It was a C plus show. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. And like I said, I don't let me rephrase. I'm not one to be pleased with average. All right. Yes, you can be. I hate my students like that. Like, they get their test grade. Like, ooh, 78. Yes. 78. Yes, that's a freaking C, man. That's average. You don't want to be average. You go in for freaking surgery, and your surgeon comes out and says, "Don't worry about your spleen. You're in good hands. I'm an average surgeon." You're probably gonna look at him and say, "I think I need a second opinion." So this show was average, but that brings us to the week, because the week was not average. The week was fucking outstanding, okay? The weekly review, first off, we had a lot of wrestling. Raw on Monday. The Netflix era has begun, and I am so glad that we are all here for it, guys. This is going to be a great thing. Now, I want to say, I did mention this already. The Netflix show, that debut, yes, pomp and circumstance, lots of Hollywood. We knew we were going to get that. If you didn't expect that, sorry for your luck. Wrestling purists, I apologize. I have a feeling that this week we still may get a little bit of the Hollywood, but I have a sneaking suspicion that we're going to get a wrestling show, and maybe one of the better wrestling shows we've seen in a long time. They got some build to do, guys. We got Saturday night's main event coming up, and we also have Rumble. It's Rumble season, baby. So I love Raw for Netflix. NXT, we had New Year's Evil. Decent show. Saw some titles change hands in here. Saw The Rock appear with his daughter. I love that piece. Dynamite, one of the better Dynamites as far as the last few weeks. It was up and down. I really enjoyed a few of the pieces. Again, wrestling. The way they opened that show was one of the better openers. It might have been the best opener of the week if it wasn't for the Netflix Raw. Matter of fact, it was. Let's just call it what it was. TNA was fantastic Thursday. We're building to TNA Genesis. Also, just come in today. I read the news. Nick Nemeth, aka Dolph Ziggler in the WWE, has re-signed with TNA. So he is their champion right now. He'll be taking on Joe Hendry at Genesis on the 19th next weekend. Can't wait for that. It's going to be a great show. So we got that coming up next weekend. I'm going to talk about it. But Nick re-signed, so the champion's going to stick around, although I think Joe Hendry's going over. We talked about that. SmackDown Friday. I could not have been any more excited for SmackDown this week. I made that very clear in my recap show yesterday. SmackDown was outstanding. I loved every freaking second of it. And we're going to get some explanations on that moving forward as we move on. And then, obviously, I just wrapped Collision. If I'm grading these shows this week, our TV shows this week, Raw, I'm not even sure what I graded it. I think I said it was an A-. I'm going to stick with that. Grades can change as we resonate, as it cooks with us, right? So Raw, I'm going to say was an A-. NXT, I'm going to go with a B+ on that, just because I don't necessarily agree with some of the moves. The action was good. The Rock was good. I think Ava's good, but not bad. Dynamite, we went with an A- on Dynamite, I believe, this week. I'm going to change that to a B+. I thought that the B+ show, it went downhill a little bit. It started off so hot, and I think that's why I went a little higher with it at first. And then, obviously, SmackDown, A-, and it was borderline on the A, okay? So on the A, as we say. So, like with that, and then obviously we're going C+ on Collision. So that's my grades on the shows for this week. And again, it's going to be another great week of wrestling. I will preview Raw tomorrow. We will have a Monday show. Okay, so I will preview Raw tomorrow, and we'll have a little discussion on what we foresee happening there. But what I want to start doing here, and this is our first attempt at it here in the Slow Burn, is each week we're going to give out some slow burn awards. All right, we're going to give out our weekly awards, and this will enable us to have our year-end awards. We're looking way forward, and who we knows, if all 6 of you are still watching at the end of this year, we will have our year-end awards, and I will invite all of you to White Castle, and we will discuss it over belly bombers and chicken rings, and it'll be a wonderful time, I promise. Okay, so I want to go with our awards for the week. First off, this is the awards we're going to do. All right. We're going to do match of the week. We are going to do promo of the week. We are going to do moment of the week. That could be a little bit of everything. All right. I just want to make sure we know about that. I want to do rumor or news of the week, and then we'll break it down with our final show of the week. All right. Now, I want to say this. When we do show of the week, that may include a pay-per-view or a PLE. All right. If a pay-per-view or a PLE fall in that line, that timeline for the week, then that can get that award as well. So with that said, let's go over our slow burn matches, awards, promos. These are our slow burn awards for the week. All right. Our match of the week this week. First off, I want to say we had a runner. I'm going to give a runner up in some of these because I thought some of them were close. My runner up this week was actually Roxanne and Julia on NXT. Julia going over on Roxanne, becoming the NXT Women's Champion. That was a great match. Julia, guys, if you haven't seen much of her, watch her. She is the future. The whole future is down in NXT right now. I think that we're going to see a Julia Stephanie Vaquer feud at some point, and it's going to be the greatest thing that women's wrestling has seen this year. So that was my runner-up. My match of the week is CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. How is it not? Blood feud, hatred. These guys couldn't stand each other. They went at it. If you're a fan of wrestling, you're a fan of that match. It was good. It was good. Are they done? Are they not done? We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't think they're done. I don't think they're done, but I think they're close. I think they might be close. So we'll see what happens with that. All right. So my match of the week was CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. That one was on Monday Night Raw. Our promo of the week this week. If he's gonna get in the ring, odds are I'm probably gonna give him his promo. So you probably know where I'm going with this. But I want to tell you my runner-up. My runner-up for promo of the week this week is a different one, and you may not agree with this, but I want to say Powerhouse Hobbs from last night's Collision. Okay. Now you just sat here and said Collision was the shit. Like it no, it was shit. I didn't enjoy it. It was average. But Powerhouse Hobbs's promo was the shit. There you go. There's 1994 for you. It was fantastic. And I like the fact that they're giving him more of an opportunity. A year and a half or so ago, when he was doing that Book of Hobbs stuff, I liked where that was going, and you saw him improving. And then it just died. It just died. Of course, and then he got injured, and you didn't know what was going to happen from there. But I thought that promo was fantastic. So that's my runner-up. Now, my promo of the week, as I said, he got in the ring. He spoke. Paul Heyman on SmackDown. All right, talking to Cody, letting him know Roman wants his title back. Roman Reigns. And I think that's kind of a decent stuff. Like anytime Heyman's going to talk, you're going to hear decent stuff, right? No matter what it is. So that's my promo of the week. Our moment of the week this week, my runner-up for moment of the week. I went all around. We had belts change hands all over, and when you have belts change hands on television, that's huge. NXT, we had two belts change hands. Julia takes the women's belt. We have Oba Femi taking the men's title from Trick Williams. One of the reasons that I'm not good with this, but we'll see where they go. I'm patient, so we'll see what happens. But Tiffy winning the belt, that was so close to being my moment of the week, but couldn't quite pull the trigger on that one. My moment of the week was the opening of Raw. Triple H. I mean, Triple H in Raw narrating that was that was a moment, right? That was a moment. So yeah, Triple H for all. That's my moment of the week. My rumor of the week. The runner up here is Alexa Bliss coming back for Rumble. Hopefully that's going to happen soon. I think it is going to happen soon. I really do. I think we're going to see her before Rumble. I don't think she'll make that Rumble run in. I do think we're going to see some pretty good Rumble run ins, especially on the women's side. Man, I don't know. But my rumor of the week is Malachi Black. We mentioned that. I've mentioned it on two shows now. Rumor has it, AEW not re-signing Malachi Black. Contract is up at the beginning of February, and they're not going to have him back on TV until that. So Malachi Black probably coming to the WWE, returning to the WWE to be with his wife, Zelina Vega. So we'll see what happens there. So that brings me to our show of the week, as if we have to really have a contest here. Our show of the week, the Netflix era has begun. All right. Monday Night Raw is our show of the week, as if you didn't know that was going to be your answer. All right. So it was a hell of a week in wrestling. Guys, I hope you all have enjoyed it. I hope you're enjoying the slow burn. Reach out to me. Send me a message. Reach out to me on all of our social media platforms. You can email us, obviously, at slowburnwrestlingpod@yahoo.com. Again, we got some stuff coming this week. I'll be debuting some new logos, some new multimedia. I'm not a tech guy. I'm not, but the people that are helping me are fantastic. Thank you guys, and I'll be giving you guys some pubs soon. So everyone that's helping me, it's awesome. So guys, keep us up. Keep rolling with us here. Wrestling's an amazing time. It's an amazing time to be watching. So thank you for joining us here in the Slow Burn, where all professional wrestling storylines live. Guys, in this world of all this crap, we're wrestling everything. Stay on top.